Hi, and thank you for joining the latest circuit breaker training module. The purpose of today's training is to show you how to get all of the students you would like to claim onto your current fiscal year circuit breaker claim. My name is Roseann Langlois from the circuit breaker team, and I'll be walking you through this process step by step. Today's session will begin with an overview of how to navigate the system to add students to your claim. I'll be reviewing special indicators and demonstrating various ways to add students with different situations onto your claim. As you know, students are claimed on a per student basis. They need to be certified in SIMS in order to claim expenses for a student. There's different ways to add students to the current year claim. One is by searching by a student's birth date in SASID, and another is by identifying and moving a student claimed by the district in a prior year into the current year's claim. I'll be showing you this in more detail. There's also an opportunity to add a special indicator when appropriate. Special indicators have specific definitions, and students with special indicators are reimbursed at a higher rate than other students. State wards are students that are placed by the state and residing outside of the student's hometown. Abandoned students are students who have no parent or guardian living in the Commonwealth. And a homeless student is a student that is confirmed by your district's homeless coordinator. As you can see here, if the student has met a special indicator status as defined above for at least 5 months during a school year, the student should be claimed with a special indicator status for the full claim period. It's also very important that students with special indicators are reported to DESE through the homeless and foster care student data collection process. I'm going to transition over to the circuit breaker portal. So here we are in CHAMPS. We're going to click on circuit breaker. Now we are going to click on your claim and navigate over to add students. As you can see here, there's a brief instruction summary that's very helpful, as well as a link to this training, adding students to the claim. So if you're in the process of adding students, you need a quick refresher, you can just click here and access this training. As I mentioned, you can add a student in a couple of different ways. One is by entering their birthday and SASID. You can see there are already 2 students on this claim. And then here are students that were claimed in a previous fiscal year. So my first example is I'm going to move a student that we've claimed previously onto our current year claim. So you can either, I'm only going to add Helga, but if you were preparing the claim and you saw that you had a number of students that needed to be moved to your current circuit breaker claim, you could click more than one and click next. In this example, I'm only going to move Helga. So I've checked her box and now I'm going to click next. You'll now see that Helga is part of the current year claim. And from here, you can click on her SASID and add placements as needed. My next example is going to be adding a student who has not been claimed in a prior year. So a student that is not down here. So in order to do that, I'm going to enter the student's date of birth, and SASID number. And I'm going to click next. The system's thinking. Now you can see it says no student not found. No students were found with the selected birth date and SASID value. So typos happen. So let's go back to the previous screen. I did this intentionally so you could see what this screen looks like. So if a student is not found, that is a hard stop. So let's go back. So I know that I did that intentionally and the birth year is 2011. So now I'm going to click next. And here you can see you have a nice green student found, Dolores, the date of birth, SASID, the certification status, the student is certified. So now you would say, as these, per the instructions here, please verify this is the correct student and click create student claim. So before we do that, I just want to note that there's a line here. If the student meets a category of a special indicator for 5+ months, please indicate that status, okay? So here's where you would add that. Now, I know that Dolores is a state ward because I have verified that Dolores was reported through the to DESE through the homeless and foster care student data collection process. So I am going to mark Dolores as a state ward, and then I'm going to click create student claim. Now it says student claim successfully created, but you don't see Dolores down here. Well, that's because we always need to click on the complete student claim creation button. Let's see. And there is Dolores and her special indicator status. Just to briefly review, so if you were to, in order to add some expenses, you would not click on the student's name, you would click on the SASID. If you click on the student's name, you would see it only provides you with the student name and date of birth. To add expenses, you would click on this. If you hover, you can see what's been entered thus far. So we haven't added any instruction or tuition expenses or any transportation expenses, but here we can see the student name and the special indicator. If you click on the SASID, you are within the student details page, and this is where you would add placements. So here you can see any place with this pencil are fields that you can edit. And so here you see the student name, the claim name. Here's this year's threshold. There are no instructional, as I said before, instructional and tuition costs. There are no transportation costs thus far, so this all looks fine. Another way to see what you have entered for a student is by using this SASID report here. So the SASID is located within the student details. So now I have another example I want to show you, so I'm going to click back. And now I'm going to add another student who was not claimed in a previous year and So therefore, I need to enter a birthday and SASID. Okay, so now you see this student was not certified. Now, when you see this pink alert, this is not a hard stop. What this is telling you is that you need to enter a reason why the student is not certified. So here's the student's name, date of birth, SASID, and this is very interesting. So the student was last certified on October 1st, 2024, okay? And then these are your claim start date and end date. So again, like I said, this is not a hard stop when you see this notification. So why wasn't this student certified? Well, this student moved into district after October. Reporting period will be included in March update. So now that's my reason. So we have the correct student. We've entered the reason. This student does not have a special indicator. So I'm going to click Create Student Claim. So you don't see the student here. So even though you see student claim successfully created, you do need to remember to click on this button, complete creation and refresh page. Okay, let's see. So here is our student. So although the issue status is showing a green check mark, it's important to note that when a student has, like in Dolores's case, a state ward or a comment, the DESE team does review all of those items. Okay. So that concludes our review of adding students to a circuit breaker claim. Thank you very much for participating in today's training module. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your circuit breaker liaison.